Your life is not chaotic because you lack time. It's chaotic because you lack order. The difference between a life that flows and a life that falls apart is organization, not the kind that fills drawers and calendars, but the kind that arranges the mind. Every wasted hour, every broken promise, every dream delayed traces back to one truth. You never mastered the law of order. The undisciplined mind builds confusion. The organized mind builds empires. And if you will listen closely, I will show you the 7 principles that turn drift into direction. You keep saying you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow is not a place, it's a decision. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. Until you command your thoughts, you cannot command your hours. Until you master your time, you will remain a slave to distraction. There is a rhythm to all great achievement. Every success story is a symphony of order. Each note, each task, each thought, arranged in harmony with purpose. You are not failing because you are weak. You are failing because your days are lawless. Imagine rising each morning knowing exactly what must be done and why. No more hesitation, no more confusion, just clarity. That calm is not a gift. It is earned by mastering organization as a spiritual law, and I will teach you how to apply it. The man who organizes his life does not live faster. He lives with power. His hours obey him. His mind serves him. His results multiply because every action flows from definiteness, and definiteness is the first mark of mastery. You must understand this. Chaos is not your enemy. It is the test that reveals whether you rule your mind or it rules you. The moment you bring order to your thoughts, every area of your life begins to align. Your money, your work, your relationships, your peace. The world rewards those who move with clarity, but clarity is not found. It is built piece by piece, law by law. I will give you the 7 principles that build it. 7 laws that have organized fortunes, governed nations, and built the lives of men who refuse to drift. This is not about tidying your desk. It is about restoring dominion over your destiny, the power to think with purpose, to plan with precision, to act without delay. When you learn these laws, confusion will leave your life forever. Listen carefully. The disorganized man lives in reaction. The organized man lives in creation. The first spends his life cleaning up yesterday. The second designs tomorrow. You must decide tonight which one you will be, because there is a law to success as exact as the law of gravity, and it begins with order. When your mind is disciplined, your life becomes predictable in its results. Your future becomes measurable. Your dreams become plans. So stay with me. For the next few moments, I will show you how to bring order to your chaos, structure to your purpose, and control to your destiny. Once you learn these 7 principles, life will no longer happen to you. It will happen through you. Principle 1, the law of definite purpose. The most dangerous man is not he who fails, but he who does not know what he wants. For failure can be corrected, but vagueness cannot. The drifting mind builds confusion. The definite mind builds empires. Every life that lacks order is missing one central law: purpose. A man cannot organize his days until he organizes his direction. Purpose is not luxury. It is law. Every thought, every habit, every plan must obey a single aim, or they will war against one another. Without direction, the mind becomes a battlefield of competing desires. You want wealth, but fear risk. You crave peace, but chase distraction. You wish for success, but waste time. This is the chaos of an untrained mind. The first duty of an organized life is to choose one definite purpose and make every thought march in that direction. When Andrew Carnegie began his climb, he had one idea so simple it seemed almost foolish: to make steel cheaper and stronger than anyone else. But he held that thought until it became the pulse of an empire. Every department, every man, every decision was organized around that one purpose. It was not luck that built his fortune, it was alignment. Purpose simplifies life. It divides every decision into 2 answers. Does this serve my aim, or does it not? Without that compass, every choice feels urgent, and every distraction seems important. But when the mind has direction, confusion vanishes like fog before the sun. Ford once said that thinking is the hardest work in the world, which is why so few engage in it. He meant true thinking, the act of deciding what one lives for and organizing life accordingly. Purpose turns chaos into rhythm. When you know what you want, time obeys you. Hours once wasted now fall neatly into order. Even fatigue feels noble when it serves a definite cause. Without aim, discipline becomes torture. With aim, it becomes devotion. The farmer rises before dawn not because he loves toil, but because he loves harvest. Write your purpose plainly. Reduce it to one sentence, one idea, not a paragraph of wishes, but a command. I will master my craft. I will build peace and wealth through service. I will create abundance through faith and persistence. This sentence becomes your creed. Write it. Read it each morning. Speak it before sleep. In time, it will sink into your subconscious, and your mind will begin arranging circumstances to fulfill it. The man who drifts through life blaming chance is blind to this law. He says, I never had an opportunity. Yet opportunity has passed him daily. He simply did not recognize it, for he had no definite use for it. The man of purpose sees what others overlook. He converts chance into choice. Every great life, every empire, every discovery began as one ruling thought held long enough to summon its own form. Edison's burning question, how to create light without flame, organized his whole existence. His failures did not discourage him because his purpose had given meaning to effort. When you work under a definite aim, failure becomes education. The undisciplined man tries to find meaning in motion. The purposeful man finds motion in meaning. One races in circles. The other walks directly to his goal. The one who wanders through many pursuits never excels at any. The one who devotes himself to one aim becomes a master. The world bows to mastery because it recognizes certainty. You cannot think clearly until you decide clearly. The mind resists instruction until it knows its destination. The moment you choose a definite purpose, your thoughts begin to obey like soldiers under command. Fear weakens because fear thrives on uncertainty. Decision dissolves doubt. The man who knows what he wants rarely feels anxiety. His mind is too busy creating direction. Purpose awakens imagination. Once the destination is chosen, infinite intelligence begins sending ideas, people, and opportunities suited to it. What you call coincidence is only the result of definiteness, drawing support from unseen law. If you have ever held a single aim with passion, you know this truth. The whole world begins to conspire in its favor. You must test every action by one question. Does this move me nearer to my aim? If not, refuse it. This is not harshness, it is discipline. Great fortunes are not made through scattered effort, but through selective obedience. Rockefeller's power came not from doing much, but from doing only what served his definite purpose. Definiteness also creates peace. The wandering mind lives in tension because it serves too many masters. One moment it seeks approval, the next comfort, the next wealth. But the organized mind, fixed on one aim, moves serenely. It no longer debates with itself. Its energy flows in one direction. Others will begin to sense this calm confidence in you. You will seem different, not hurried, not restless. They will trust you, not because you ask them to, but because definiteness commands respect. The world admires the man who knows. The power of purpose grows through repetition. Each time you affirm it, you engrave it deeper into the subconscious. Each day lived in harmony with it increases magnetism. Eventually, even your expression, your tone, your very presence will communicate direction. People will follow you instinctively. Say this often. I know what I want. I know where I am going. My thoughts obey my purpose. Say it until your words become truth. Purpose not only organizes your hours, it organizes your identity. You begin to act, dress, and speak as the man who has already achieved it. The subconscious cannot resist such faith. It begins constructing that identity in the outer world. You will find your habits changing without effort, your time flowing naturally into order. Purpose also reveals what must die. The man who chooses his aim must also release distraction. Old habits, empty entertainments, aimless talk, all must yield. This pruning is not loss, it is refinement. A sculptor removes marble not to destroy, but to reveal the masterpiece within. Do not fear narrowing your aim. One definite purpose is more powerful than 100 vague wishes. You cannot strike 10 targets with one arrow. When you master one direction, all others align themselves in service to it. Focus builds confidence. Confidence builds faith. Faith builds power. If you are uncertain of your purpose, begin with service. Ask, where can I add the most value? What skill or strength can I perfect that benefits others? Purpose founded upon service never fails, for it aligns with divine law. Carnegie said, "No man can become rich without enriching others." Purpose that serves builds order everywhere it touches. Once your purpose is fixed, write it daily until you feel it guiding your actions naturally. The written word fixes thought into form. Each repetition tightens the thread between idea and reality. Over time, you will notice that even your circumstances rearrange to reflect your aim. Purpose is not built in a day. It is refined through use. Each obstacle reveals a new aspect of it. Each decision strengthens it. Treat challenges as tests of alignment, proof that your direction is worthy. A purpose that cannot endure trial was never purpose but preference. The organized man begins his day with purpose and ends it with review. He knows that a day spent without advancing his aim is a day lost. The drifter sleeps in confusion and wakes in fatigue. The organized man sleeps in peace and wakes with direction. Once you have chosen your purpose, guard it as a sacred flame. Protect it from doubt, distraction, and indecision. Feed it daily with thought and faith. Let it guide every hour. In time, it will illuminate your entire life. When your purpose becomes clear, life itself becomes simple. You no longer chase time, it obeys you. You no longer envy others. They cannot rival your direction. You no longer drift. You design. That is the mark of the organized mind, serenity through purpose. And when this clarity takes root, the next step becomes inevitable. For purpose, once chosen, demands structure. Desire without design is chaos. In the next principle, you will learn how to give your purpose a plan, a form so precise that success becomes predictable, and your life begins to move in perfect rhythm with law. Principle 2, the law of organized planning. Every definite purpose requires a structure through which it can move, just as water requires a channel or it floods aimlessly. Planning is that channel. It transforms faith into system, vision into direction, and desire into measurable progress. A dream unplanned is only hope. A dream organized is destiny taking form. Every man who has achieved enduring success has been first a builder of plans. The world remembers the results, but the results were born from blueprints drawn in silence. Henry Ford could see an assembly line long before machinery existed to support it. Andrew Carnegie could see skyscrapers rising from steel before furnaces were even lit. Edison could see light before the lamp had shape. They all obeyed one law: organized planning. Desire must be disciplined. It must be divided into steps, into hours, into tasks so precise that confusion cannot enter. The man who works without a plan works under emotion. The man who works with one works under law. Law brings peace because it removes guesswork. The mind cannot remain anxious when it knows exactly what must be done. Sit down with your definite purpose written plainly before you. Ask yourself, what actions, if done daily, would bring this to pass? Do not think in large leaps. Think in sequence. The oak tree grows not by explosion, but by steady repetition. Write each step in order and give it a time. A plan without time is only wish. Each evening, review that plan. Cross out what was done. Refine what remains. Add what was learned. Planning is not rigid. It is living order. The successful man does not plan once. He plans daily, adjusting his structure as new ideas emerge. The mastermind principle operates through organized planning. When two or more minds unite upon one purpose, their collective intelligence creates solutions no single mind could achieve. Surround yourself with those who believe in your aim, who can supplement your weaknesses and multiply your strength. No empire was ever built by one man alone. Ford had his engineers, Carnegie his managers, Edison his assistants, all united under organized direction. Beware of the half plan. The man who plans half and acts half fails wholly. You must plan fully, act completely, and review regularly. The plan is your map. Review is your compass. The sailor who sets course once and never checks direction will soon drift off the line of success. Do not be discouraged when plans change. Change is not failure. It is refinement. The river bends but never forgets its destination. So too must your plan adapt while remaining loyal to purpose. When new information arrives, the wise man adjusts his path, not his aim. Each goal requires a schedule of attention. Assign your best hours to your greatest aim, the morning for creation, the evening for reflection. Thought without schedule breeds drift. Order your hours, and your mind will soon follow. A plan also teaches patience. The man who demands harvest the moment after planting destroys his seed. Growth is not delayed. It is developing unseen. The disciplined mind respects the law of time. Each day's obedience builds momentum. The man who keeps his plan in motion will soon move mountains through quiet persistence. Carnegie used to say that most men fail not for lack of intelligence, but for lack of organization. He meant that they scatter effort, moving in many directions with great energy, but little progress. Concentration, not commotion, builds empires. The man who keeps his work aligned with his written plan never wastes a day. Do not think of planning as drudgery. It is the act of partnership with infinite intelligence. Each written plan is a prayer turned into structure. You are saying to the universe, I am ready to cooperate. Show me the steps, and I will take them. Life always answers such order. The clearer your blueprint, the faster the response. Every plan must be tested in action. Execution reveals flaws that thought alone cannot detect. Begin, observe, improve, continue. Planning and acting are twin forces. Each perfects the other. A plan without action is a statue. Action without plan is a storm. Together they form progress. Say aloud each morning, my plan is definite. My plan obeys my will. My will obeys divine law. Speak it until your mind believes it. This repetition engraves obedience upon the subconscious. In time, you will act in harmony with your design without hesitation. Keep your plan visible. Place it where your eyes meet it daily. Let it become the silent command shaping your choices. When doubt whispers, read it again. When fatigue tempts you to drift, let the plan remind you that order is freedom. You will soon discover that planning organizes not only your time, but your thought. Problems that once seemed overwhelming break into smaller, solvable parts. Confusion dissolves. You move from reaction to creation. Others will notice your calm efficiency, your quiet focus. They will call it talent, but it is simply organization. Planning refines faith. Each task completed proves the law true. Each success, however small, strengthens belief. Momentum builds. The once distant goal draws near. What seemed miraculous now feels inevitable. That is the reward of organized planning. It turns impossibility into schedule. Your plan should include moments of rest and reflection. Even the most precise machine must pause for maintenance. Review your week as a craftsman inspects his tools. Keep the sharpness of your mind and the order of your days intact. Do not share your plan with every ear. Speak only to those who will strengthen it. The opinions of doubters are poisons to progress. Protect your vision from the careless and the cynical. Discuss it only with your mastermind alliance, those who understand the law of faith and order. When you live by plan, the days stop controlling you. You control them. The clock no longer dictates, purpose does. You no longer wonder what to do next. You act because it was decided yesterday. That calm certainty is power. Others will begin to view you as reliable, capable, and precise. They will entrust you with greater responsibility, knowing your word and schedule are one. This reputation, once formed, attracts opportunity. The world bends naturally toward those who move in rhythm with law. A plan is more than paper. It is character in action. The man who follows his plan trains his mind to obey command. He becomes a general of his own destiny. Each victory of order over confusion builds inner authority. Soon, discipline becomes instinct. By mastering planning, you save years of error. You no longer wander into paths unfit for your purpose. Each step becomes deliberate. You move faster, not by rushing, but by removing waste. This is how planning saves 10, 20, even 30 years of wandering. Now that you have given your purpose a structure, you must learn to guard that structure from intrusion. The world is noisy, distractions are many, and even the best plan can crumble under divided attention. Therefore, the next step is essential: to command attention itself, to master focus so fully that no thought, no person, no circumstance can pull you from your line of progress. In the next principle, you will learn the art of concentration, the law of controlled attention, the power by which all other laws are executed. For no plan can serve you until your mind learns to serve your plan. Principle 3, the law of controlled attention. There are two kinds of men in this world: those who direct their attention and those whose attention directs them. The first creates, the second reacts. The one lives deliberately, the other drifts through borrowed thoughts. Attention is the invisible hand that shapes destiny. Whatever you hold in mind expands. Whatever you neglect decays. To control your attention is to control your life. Most minds resemble a room with open windows, every noise from the street rushing in: news, gossip, memory, fear, ambition, regret. The man of power closes those windows and chooses what may enter. He treats his attention as sacred ground. He knows that where the mind lingers, the body soon follows, and that no man can build strength on the shifting sands of distraction. Controlled attention is the secret of genius. Edison could lose himself for hours in one problem, while others gave up at the first difficulty. Rockefeller's mind stayed calm amid financial storms because his attention was disciplined. Lincoln, in his darkest hours, refused to fix his gaze upon despair. He held his mind upon the end he sought, unity, and in doing so, he turned tragedy into triumph. To master attention is to command the most precious form of energy given to man. The mind, like light, grows powerful when concentrated. Diffused, it warms little. Focused, it burns through every obstacle. The disorganized man scatters his energy upon 100 tasks and finishes none. The organized man completes what he begins because he attends to one thing at a time, fully and deliberately. You must learn to hold one idea in your mind without drift. Begin with the exercise of single thought focus. Take one idea, peace, success, gratitude, and hold it for 60 seconds. Your mind will wander. Gently return it. Each repetition strengthens your mental muscle. In time, you will find you can command thought as firmly as a sculptor commands his tools. Understand this truth. Every form of overthinking, every moment of worry, is only attention left ungoverned. The mind that has no direction invents trouble to occupy itself. Give it a definite task, and confusion vanishes. The man who trains his attention no longer reacts to the noise of life. He decides which thoughts are worthy of his time. Controlled attention also breeds calmness. When you dwell on faith instead of fear, order replaces anxiety. Your nervous system obeys your focus. To think of peace is to become peaceful. To think of failure is to invite it. You are the gardener of your thought, and attention is the hand that chooses which seed to water. There is a divine rhythm in attention. Whatever is repeatedly held in thought must by law express itself in form. The subconscious mind, obedient servant that it is, acts upon the last idea impressed with emotion. If that idea is confusion, it produces disorder. If it is clarity, it produces precision. The man who controls his attention controls his subconscious, and the man who controls his subconscious controls his world. Do not think that control means tension. The master of attention does not strain, he relaxes. His focus is effortless because it flows from definiteness. He does not chase 100 impressions. He commands one. Like the river that wears away stone, his calm persistence shapes circumstance. Each day, decide upon the single most important thought to hold. Write it upon paper if you must. Let that thought dominate your morning. Let it guide your actions. Refuse every impulse that does not serve it. Each refusal strengthens will. Each act of focus increases magnetism. In time, your very presence will radiate authority, the quiet authority of a man who knows what he thinks. When the world throws distraction at you, remember this law. Nothing can disturb a mind that refuses to attend. You cannot be made to feel inferior unless you consent to focus on inferiority. You cannot be made anxious unless you choose to contemplate failure. The power of attention lies in its exclusivity. To attend to one thing is to withdraw from all others. Think of the sunbeam, harmless when scattered, but unstoppable when focused through a lens. So it is with your thought. When you hold one desire, one purpose, one image of success, every element of life begins to align. Opportunities you once missed will seem to appear by chance. People who can help will be drawn to you. This is not mystery, it is magnetic law. Controlled attention also organizes the emotions. When your thought is definite, your feelings obey. The restless heart becomes steady when it knows its direction. This is why worry fades under concentration. It cannot survive in the presence of faith. As soon as you direct your mind to the solution, the problem loses its power. Say to yourself, I direct my attention. I choose my thoughts. I complete what I begin. Repeat this until you feel the truth of it. Each repetition engraves new discipline into the subconscious. In time, you will no longer struggle to focus. It will be natural. The untrained mind obeys emotion. The trained mind commands it. Your ability to control attention determines how others perceive you. People instinctively trust the man who listens fully, who looks into their eyes without distraction. They feel his presence because his mind is not scattered. Such focus builds influence. The world respects the individual who has mastered his own thought, for he can be trusted to master circumstance. The opposite of control is drift. Drift begins in small indulgences. A few idle minutes here, a small distraction there. Each one weakens command. Soon the mind grows dull, decisions blur, and the day is lost. Beware of drift disguised as harmless entertainment. It is the thief of genius. The organized life demands selective attention, time for thought, time for action, time for rest. Controlled attention saves energy. The body tires less when the mind is not divided. You will notice after a few days of practice that fatigue diminishes because inner conflict has ceased. The divided man spends his strength fighting himself. The focused man moves forward effortlessly. This law also protects your peace. When you learn to shift attention at will, you gain freedom from worry. The overthinker is a prisoner of thought. The disciplined thinker is its master. The moment you feel unease, change your focus. Think of gratitude, of purpose, of faith. The mind cannot hold two opposing ideas at once. Choose the higher, and the lower dissolves. Even in conversation, control your attention. Listen deliberately. The mind that listens builds understanding. The one that prepares to reply breeds confusion. Rockefeller once said that most men fail in business because they talk before they think. Controlled attention reverses this. It teaches you to hear deeply, then act decisively. There will be days when focus feels impossible. On those days, simplify. Return to breath, to gratitude, to your definite aim. 1 minute of true attention is worth more than hours of scattered effort. The master does not seek perfection. He seeks consistency. Each act of return strengthens mastery. Others will soon remark upon your change. They will notice that you seem unhurried even while busy, decisive even under pressure. They will call you calm, but it is not calmness. It is control. You no longer live by reaction. You live by decision. This principle, when practiced daily, organizes every other. Planning without focus collapses. Discipline without attention becomes routine. Attention is the power that makes order possible. When your attention is mastered, the rest of life arranges itself. As your power of focus deepens, gratitude becomes easier. You notice details others overlook, the beauty of work well done, the peace of completed tasks, the quiet joy of direction. The man of attention lives more fully because he actually lives in the present. Remember, what you continually hold in mind must, by law, become reality. Thought repeated becomes belief. Belief repeated becomes fact. Guard that repetition carefully. Attend only to what you wish to create. Now that you have learned to command focus, you must build rhythm around it. For attention without consistency soon fades. The next principle will teach you the secret of maintaining order day after day, the law of daily discipline, the law by which every plan becomes habit and every habit becomes power. Principle 4, the law of daily discipline. There is no greatness without rhythm, and no rhythm without discipline. The universe itself is orderly. The sun rises and sets by law. The tides obey gravity. The seasons follow their appointed time. Everything enduring moves in pattern. Only man, in his ignorance, breaks this law and wonders why his life falls into chaos. Discipline is man's conscious return to the rhythm of creation. Many speak of freedom, but few understand it. Freedom does not come from escape. It comes from mastery. The man who refuses order is a slave to chance. The one who embraces routine rules his world. To build a disciplined life is to cooperate with the laws that govern all power. Discipline is faith expressed through repetition. To do what must be done, whether or not emotion agrees, is the mark of mastery. The undisciplined man acts only when inspired. The disciplined man acts until inspiration follows. The former lives in reaction, the latter in command. Every fortune, every great invention, every noble achievement has been built upon countless small acts of obedience to law. Edison worked at fixed hours regardless of weather or fatigue. Carnegie reviewed his accounts daily with precision. Lincoln read and wrote at dawn before his household stirred. Their lives were guided not by impulse but by design. The secret of discipline is simplicity. Choose a few vital actions and repeat them until they become habit. The body may resist at first, but the mind, once convinced, will lead. Routine is the skeleton of success. The man who builds it stands firm while others collapse under confusion. Begin with 1 hour a day, your hour of dominion. Set it apart as sacred. In that hour you plan, review, reflect, and prepare. Let no man or noise intrude. It is your daily conference with infinite intelligence. In time, you will find that this hour governs the other 23. A day begun in order rarely ends in confusion. Discipline is not monotony. It is harmony. The musician repeats scales until mastery frees him to create music. The disciplined mind repeats right action until success becomes natural. Repetition is not imprisonment. It is liberation from uncertainty. When fatigue whispers, rest, Ask yourself whether it is the body or the mind that tires. Often it is not the work that exhausts, but the indecision. The disciplined man rests because he chooses to, not because weakness commands him. Rest is part of rhythm, not rebellion against it. Every great enterprise began as habit. Henry Ford turned the act of daily improvement into a system. Each day his engineers were required to bring one small advancement. 1,000 small refinements built the motor that changed the world. Such is the power of daily discipline. It transforms small deeds into monumental results. Do not despise humble beginnings. The seed obeys the same law as the oak. Your first attempts at order may seem insignificant, but persistence will multiply them. The mind learns through repetition as the arm learns strength through labor. Discipline trains both to obey without debate. Say to yourself each morning, "My order is my freedom. My routine is my peace. I persist until I prevail." Say it again when temptation to drift appears. This affirmation burns the truth into memory. Chaos is slavery, but order is strength. The world rewards those whose actions are predictable in excellence. Employers, partners, and friends all trust the man who keeps his word through habit, not mood. Discipline builds reputation, and reputation builds opportunity. Reliability is magnetism. It attracts confidence as surely as steel draws to the magnet. Some imagine that discipline requires the destruction of joy. They confuse control with repression. But the disciplined man feels more joy, not less, because he is not at war with himself. He acts without conflict. His peace is born from integrity, thought, word, and deed aligned. To live by law is to live in power. When you follow a fixed rhythm of study, work, reflection, and rest, your days flow as naturally as breathing. You no longer fight time. You cooperate with it. The hours expand for the man who uses them wisely. Carnegie once said that he owed his peace of mind to the order of his day. He knew when to begin, when to stop, and when to think. He did not live by reaction, but by plan. This constancy built not only wealth, but serenity. The nervous man wastes half his energy changing course. The organized man moves forward in a straight line. Discipline must reach beyond labor into thought. Train your mind to return to your purpose whenever it wanders. The same rule that governs body governs brain. Repeat the right act until it becomes instinct. A disciplined mind no longer wrestles with temptation. It simply obeys higher command. Each night, review your day, not in condemnation, but in correction. Ask, did I follow my plan? Did I let distractions steal my time? Did I act with faith or with fear? This nightly accounting keeps conscience clean and purpose clear. The man who reviews himself daily saves years of regret. Discipline is also the cure for doubt. When you act according to schedule, you have no time to question. Faith grows through execution. The one who waits for confidence before beginning never begins. The one who acts with order discovers that confidence follows obedience. Even emotion bows before routine. The man who continues his work amid discouragement finds that feeling changes with momentum. Emotion cannot resist movement directed by will. The disciplined man, therefore, never trusts moods. He trusts habits. There will be moments when the law of discipline feels heavy. When routine seems dull, remind yourself that even nature pauses but never quits. The tide recedes only to return. The seed sleeps before growth. So too must you rest without drifting and resume without complaint. Others will envy your consistency. They will call you fortunate, not seeing that fortune is simply discipline made visible. The world admires steadiness because it is rare. In a society of distraction, the man who finishes what he begins becomes a beacon. Your discipline must include gratitude. Begin and end your day by giving thanks for the power to choose order over chaos. Gratitude sweetens labor and transforms duty into devotion. The disciplined man does not work from necessity, but from reverence for law. Remember, freedom is not doing as you please. It is doing as you planned. The former breeds guilt, the latter peace. To live by design is to live without regret. When the rhythm of discipline has been established, you will feel a quiet power within, a sense that you move with the current of life rather than against it. This harmony is the reward of obedience. The man who lives by rhythm cannot be hurried or halted. He is as steady as sunrise. Now that you have built order into your habits, the next law awaits the mastery of your inner climate. For what good is outer order if the heart remains in turmoil? To organize life fully, you must organize emotion. Therefore, we now turn to the law of emotional command, where you will learn to rule feeling as you rule thought, and to make calmness your unshakable strength. Principle 5, the law of emotional command. The greatest victories are not won on battlefields, but within the mind. The man who cannot command himself cannot command his circumstances. It is not poverty that breaks a man, nor criticism, nor failure. It is uncontrolled emotion. The disorganized man is ruled by moods. The organized man rules them. Emotional command is not coldness, it is composure. It is the still flame that burns even when the wind rises. Every emotion is energy. It is neither good nor evil until directed. Fear and faith are the same force turned in opposite directions. One destroys, the other creates. To feel fear is not weakness, it is misused power. To convert that fear into faith is mastery. When you learn to harness emotion, you stop being a creature of reaction and become a creator of rhythm. A man who controls his emotions becomes irresistible. The world senses it. His voice carries authority. His presence commands attention, not because he is loud, but because he is calm. Calmness is magnetic. In the presence of an ordered mind, confusion cannot endure. Lincoln was such a man. During the darkest years of war, when his nation was torn and his advisors panicked, he remained serene. His calmness did not come from ignorance of danger, but from obedience to higher law. He knew that turmoil outside could not disturb the mind that remained anchored in principle. The first step toward emotional command is awareness. You cannot control what you do not observe. Watch your emotions as a scientist watches flame. When anger rises, do not justify it, analyze it. When fear whispers, do not hide it, question it. Ask, what lesson are you teaching me? Every emotion is a messenger. The undisciplined man attacks the messenger. The wise man reads the message. The second step is substitution. The mind cannot hold two opposing emotions at once. When fear appears, introduce faith. When irritation arises, summon gratitude. When doubt intrudes, recall purpose. Substitution is the mental art of transmutation. You do not fight darkness. You light a candle. Practice this law daily. Before reacting, pause. This is the pause of dominion. Take one deep breath and remember your purpose. Emotion loses half its power when observed and the other half when redirected. By mastering this simple pause, you will prevent countless regrets and command every conversation with grace. Say quietly to yourself, my calmness is power. My composure commands results. Speak it until your pulse obeys. Soon you will feel the truth of it. The body softens, the breath slows, the mind clears. Calmness is not the absence of energy, it is energy under control. You will find that your environment begins to mirror your inner state. People trust the man who does not lose himself under pressure. They confide in him, follow him, and seek his counsel. Why? Because order is contagious. When you master your emotions, you organize the emotions of others without effort. Rockefeller was famous for this. During financial crises, while others panicked, he remained unshaken. His calmness saved millions, not because he possessed more money, but because he possessed more composure. He understood that panic destroys capital faster than any storm, and that serenity attracts opportunity. Do not mistake suppression for command. The man who buries emotion becomes rigid. The man who directs it becomes strong. Emotion must flow through purpose, not against it. If anger arises, channel it into constructive action. Let it drive improvement, not destruction. If sorrow comes, use it to deepen understanding, not to weaken resolve. Uncontrolled emotion disorganizes the entire system of the mind. It scatters attention, disrupts discipline, and blinds judgment. You cannot think accurately when passion governs reason. To remain orderly, feeling must serve thought, not rule it. Emotional command is a spiritual practice. It is not learned in a day, but cultivated through observation and choice. Begin each morning by setting your emotional intention. Decide what state you will maintain regardless of conditions. Say, today I will remain calm. Today I will interpret all events as opportunities. This conscious choice organizes the subconscious, and the subconscious enforces the command throughout the day. The man who commands emotion no longer fears circumstance. He sees adversity as exercise, not punishment. Every irritation becomes an opportunity to strengthen control. Each trial becomes a teacher in disguise. When you meet difficulty with composure, you prove to infinite intelligence that you are ready for greater power. Understand this: calmness is not inaction, it is precision. The calm mind acts swiftly because it wastes no time in panic. Decisions made under agitation are nearly always wrong. A moment of stillness can save years of recovery. Observe how men of destiny carry themselves. They do not rush, they do not argue, they do not react. Their tone remains measured even when opposed. This quiet confidence disarms hostility and commands respect. To argue is to confess weakness. To remain composed is to reveal power. Your emotional state sets the rhythm of your entire environment. A single anxious person can infect an entire room. A single calm person can restore it. Therefore, treat your calmness as sacred service to others. The man who radiates peace performs unseen charity. He steadies the hearts of all who meet him. Each evening, review your emotional conduct as you would your actions. Ask, did I remain master of my tone? Did I speak from faith or fear? Did I allow another's mood to dictate mine? This reflection transforms experience into wisdom. In time, composure becomes reflex. You will notice a new power entering your presence. People who once dismissed your ideas will listen. Circumstances that once intimidated you will yield. The world cannot resist a composed mind because it recognizes harmony in it. Law responds to order. Even prosperity depends upon emotional balance. Money obeys confidence. It flees from tension. The man who fears loss attracts it. The one who acts from calm faith multiplies it. When you handle wealth without attachment, it circulates freely. Gratitude invites it. Greed repels it. Emotion and thought are partners. One fuels, the other directs. When both move in harmony, creation begins. When they oppose, chaos results. Therefore, train your feeling as you train your focus. Let faith, gratitude, and serenity become your habitual mood. Do not wait for perfect conditions to practice. Command emotion amid difficulty. The storm is your classroom. The man who can smile in adversity possesses the universe's highest diploma. There will come a day when your composure will be tested by those who envy it. Remain silent. The man who argues with confusion lowers himself to its level. Silence, when deliberate, is speech in its most powerful form. Over time, emotional command refines character. You will become less reactive, more deliberate. Your words will carry weight, your gestures authority. Others will feel safe in your presence, for order soothes the human heart. And as your emotions align with law, your mind will grow clear, your health will improve, your sleep will deepen. Disorder within breeds exhaustion. Harmony restores strength. The calm man lives longer because he wastes no life in turmoil. Repeat this truth each night before rest. I am calm. I am certain. I am directed by faith. Say it slowly until every cell of your being vibrates with peace. The subconscious will receive this command and rebuild you in its image. Once emotion obeys, action becomes effortless. You will move through your day with the grace of rhythm. This harmony between thought and feeling completes the foundation of personal organization. Yet order must also extend beyond the self. To master life fully, you must master the flow of energy in and out, money, time, service, and gratitude. For emotion governs circulation, and circulation governs prosperity. Therefore, we now turn to the next principle, the law of circulation and service, the law by which giving and receiving become one rhythm, and through which organized living becomes abundant living. Principle 6, the law of circulation and service. Money, time, and opportunity obey the same law as blood in the body. They must circulate or they decay. The stagnant pool breeds disease. The flowing river renews itself every hour. Life itself is circulation. To block the current is to die a little each day. The man who fears giving, whether of effort, money, or kindness, builds a dam around his blessings. The law of circulation demands motion, and the man who serves willingly sets that motion in harmony with abundance. Wealth is not gathered by hoarding, it is gathered by flow. A miser may clutch his gold, but he clutches also his fear. He shuts the window through which supply enters. To receive, one must first release. The open hand not only gives, it receives with equal ease. Every fortune on earth was first a flow of service. Money is merely the shadow cast by the value you create for others. Andrew Carnegie proved this law. Before he built his steel empire, he mastered the art of service. He rendered more value than he was paid for, and nature multiplied his return. When his fortune was secure, he released it again in libraries, universities, and foundations, thus keeping the current alive. His wealth grew because his service never ceased. The man who serves in faith never diminishes his stock, he expands it. To live richly, you must view giving not as loss, but as intelligent sowing. The farmer who buries his seed does not mourn. It is his investment. He trusts the law of growth. So must you trust the law of service. Every act of generosity is a seed, and no seed planted in faith ever fails to bear fruit. Some returns come swiftly. Others arrive in seasons. But all obey the same order. You receive according to the quality of what you give. Service is the organizing principle of prosperity. Without it, success collapses into vanity. The greatest empires have endured not by exploitation, but by usefulness. Ford gave the working man mobility and dignity through fair wages and efficient production. Rockefeller provided light and energy to a world in darkness. Each became wealthy because they rendered what mankind needed most, organized, consistent service. There is divine intelligence behind this law. Infinite intelligence increases that which contributes to its order and diminishes that which resists it. The man who serves more than he is paid for sets in motion unseen forces that work tirelessly to promote him. The man who withholds service tightens his own limitation. Life cannot pour more into a vessel already closed by selfishness. Each evening, ask yourself, where did I serve today? Perhaps it was through labor, counsel, kindness, or gratitude. Then ask, where can I serve more deeply tomorrow? These reflections will keep your heart in motion and prevent stagnation. Even a small act done daily with intention becomes a great river over time. Say within yourself, I serve willingly, I receive gratefully, my giving organizes increase. Repeat it until it becomes your nature, for gratitude is the magnet that pulls return to every act of service. Without gratitude, even abundance loses flavor. The thankful heart multiplies. The complaining heart corrodes. Do not confuse servitude with service. Servitude is slavery born of fear. Service is freedom born of faith. The one drains energy, the other replenishes it. The man who serves through choice, not compulsion, commands his destiny. Each morning, begin with this silent pledge. Today I will render more than I expect to receive, then act on it. The universe keeps perfect account. No good deed, no sincere word, no faithful effort is ever lost. Its reward may appear through channels you cannot predict, a new opportunity, an unexpected ally, a sudden idea. Do not measure returns too narrowly. Life always pays in the currency you need most. The law of circulation also governs time. If you waste your hours on self-pity, your opportunities wither. But if you invest your time in thought, learning, and service, you multiply your reach. Time expands for the organized mind. It bends to serve purpose. The man who gives his hours to definite tasks never lacks time for what matters. The same is true of money. Spend with wisdom, save with purpose, and give with faith. Money hoarded from fear loses vitality. Money circulated from gratitude grows. Rockefeller once said that charity must be organized, not impulsive. Giving must be guided by thought, as all power must. Let every dollar serve lawfully, either by creating value or by relieving burden. Thus, even your wealth becomes a servant of purpose. To organize your life fully, your circulation must be rhythmic. Work, rest, thought, and recreation must each have their place. Imbalance breeds disorder. The man who works without pause soon loses efficiency. The one who rests without purpose soon loses will. Harmony between effort and renewal sustains growth. You will notice that as you practice this law, people begin to treat you differently. They will call you generous, but your generosity is only wisdom. They will describe you as lucky, but your luck is only the return of circulation. They will wonder how you always seem to attract opportunity. Yet the secret is simple. You never let the river stop flowing. Even words obey this principle. Speak kindly, and life returns kindness. Speak bitterness, and life mirrors bitterness. Every spoken word is an investment in atmosphere. Guard your speech as you would guard your treasure. Let it circulate encouragement, gratitude, and clarity. Some men ask, "Why should I give before I have?" But this question betrays ignorance of law. You always have something to give. An idea, a skill, a moment of patience, a prayer, a smile. The man who says he has nothing to offer condemns himself to poverty of spirit. Give from where you are, and law will lift you higher. Every act of service renews your connection to infinite intelligence. When you serve, you open yourself to guidance. Ideas flow freely to the man whose motive is contribution. The self-serving mind grows dull. The giving mind becomes creative. The greatest inventors, leaders, and teachers have all been servants of mankind first, masters of fortune second. In your daily routine, include the practice of deliberate gratitude. Before sleep, recall 3 blessings from the day. Thank life for each opportunity to give. This reflection deepens faith and keeps energy circulating. You will rise in the morning refreshed, ready to extend the current again. You will come to understand that true wealth is not in possession, but in participation. To handle money, influence, or knowledge wisely is to keep them alive. Nothing dies in your hands when your motive is service. The world has been misled to believe that success comes from competition. In truth, all progress comes from cooperation. The man of service competes with no one. He collaborates with law. While others grasp, he gives, and by giving, he rises. The habit of service purifies motive. It transforms ambition from selfishness into purpose. The man who begins his day asking, "How may I serve?" can never drift far from peace. He does not chase reward. Reward follows him. He does not beg opportunity. Opportunity seeks him. This is the divine paradox of the law of circulation. The more you release, the more you receive. Do not expect the world to applaud at once. Service often begins in silence, but those who receive your value will remember. Your name will travel where your hands have worked. The seed planted in secret will bloom in the open field of time. If you wish to multiply success tenfold, master this law. Let generosity become order. Plan your giving as you plan your work. Each week, assign a portion of your time, energy, or wealth to service. In doing so, you join the rhythm of life itself. To live this way is to live fearlessly, for the man who serves cannot be impoverished. He knows that what he gives returns increased. His heart is light because his conscience is clean. His mind is calm because he trusts law. Thus, through circulation and service, you perfect outer harmony. Yet there remains one higher order, the organization of the self through reflection and growth. For the man who ceases to learn, even abundance turns to burden. Therefore, the final principle awaits you, the law of continuous growth and reflection, the law by which order matures into wisdom and wisdom into peace. Principle 7, the law of continuous growth and reflection. All true order grows from within. Just as a tree strengthens through new rings each year, the mind of man must add layers of understanding, patience, and power through reflection. Organization that does not renew decays. Discipline without growth becomes habit. Habit without reflection becomes bondage. The mind that refuses to learn condemns itself to repeat yesterday. Growth is not an event, it is a rhythm. It begins in curiosity, matures through reflection, and perfects itself in understanding. No man ever masters success. He learns to cooperate with it a little more each day. The law of continuous growth demands humility, for it reminds us that no matter how much we know, the infinite still holds more. The greatest mistake of achievement is to confuse completion with perfection. Success attained today must be examined tomorrow. The truly wise man remains a student even when others call him master. He does not rest upon victory, but reviews it. Every triumph hides within it a lesson for greater work. Edison, in all his glory, kept notebooks full of ideas, failures, and reflections. When asked how he sustained his genius, he said, "I have not failed. I have found thousands of ways that do not work." Each evening he reviewed his work, not to lament error, but to extract principle. His reflection turned experiment into law. Ford practiced similar review. He did not read for entertainment, but for refinement. Each new idea tested the strength of his old ones. He would read the same book again years later and say, "I find something new because I have become someone new." The man who studies himself through the words of the wise multiplies his growth tenfold. Carnegie's success was not in accumulation, but in adaptation. Each stage of his empire required a different version of himself. He learned, unlearned, and learned again. Reflection guided him. Without that mental mirror, he would have been crushed under his own creation. Growth preserved both fortune and sanity. This law commands that you end each day with review. Ask, what did I learn? Where did I drift? What did I create? How shall I improve? Do not rush this ritual. It is the turning of experience into wisdom, failure into insight, fatigue into faith. A man who reviews his day each night saves 10 years of wandering. Keep a small book beside your bed, your book of order. Record not events, but principles. Write what life has taught you that day. A truth rediscovered, a mistake clarified, a virtue strengthened. Over months, these pages will reveal the architecture of your character. You will see yourself evolve with accuracy, not illusion. Reflection refines perception. It strips life of noise and exposes pattern. The disorganized man rushes blindly from task to task. The reflective man pauses to see how his actions align with purpose. Each pause strengthens awareness. Awareness perfects control. Control perfects peace. You must understand that growth is the antidote to stagnation. The moment a man stops learning, decay begins. His opinions harden, his imagination dulls, and his world shrinks to habit. But the man who studies daily keeps his soul supple and his destiny alive. His ideas remain fresh because he waters them with new thought. Commit to lifelong study. Read the great books again and again. Listen to the great speeches until their truths sink beneath memory into character. Repetition is not vanity, it is mastery. Each hearing deepens comprehension because each time you are a different listener. The truth does not change. You do. Every return to wisdom strengthens your inner order. The subconscious mind requires repetition to rewire belief. Each time you revisit a principle, you carve it deeper into your nature. The world calls this habit, but it is sacred programming. You are teaching the mind to obey the laws of harmony. Growth also demands silence. The reflective man seeks moments of solitude, not for escape, but for alignment. In stillness, he hears what action cannot reveal. The mind, like a pond, grows clear when undisturbed. In that clarity, solutions rise to the surface. Many of Edison's best ideas came while resting his eyes, appearing suddenly like gifts from the ether. Reflection is not indulgence, it is responsibility. You owe it to yourself and to those you influence. The leader who fails to reflect leads others into confusion. The parent who never pauses passes chaos to the next generation. Reflection cleanses leadership as surely as discipline sustains it. Continuous growth means never confusing comfort with completion. The man who stops improving because he feels secure begins to decline. Security without study becomes a cage lined with gold. Life demands movement. It rewards only those who continue forward. Each morning, renew your vision. Ask, what law can I practice more perfectly today? Whether it be gratitude, persistence, or calmness, focus on refinement. Small daily elevation produces monumental transformation. Progress compounded is power magnified. Growth cannot occur without humility. To learn, you must admit imperfection. The proud man remains blind to his own ignorance. The humble man transforms it into understanding. Pride says, I know. Wisdom whispers, teach me again. Reflection dissolves pride because truth, once seen clearly, humbles every man. You will notice that as you reflect, your perception of others softens. Judgment gives way to compassion. You see that most human error comes not from malice, but from confusion. This understanding organizes emotion. You no longer waste energy in resentment. You invest it in creation. Learning daily also keeps imagination alive. The reflective mind becomes a workshop for infinite intelligence. Ideas visit often because they find the door open. The stagnant mind receives no visitors. Inspiration is not random. It flows to the one who prepares for it through daily study. To practice this law is to honor time. Each hour spent in self-examination multiplies the value of all other hours. The day reviewed is never wasted. The man who reflects on failure turns defeat into blueprint. The one who ignores it repeats it. Reflection transforms accident into design. Each week, set aside one longer hour for deep review, the quiet hour. Sit alone without distraction. Examine your thoughts, motives, and results. Do not seek perfection. Seek progress. Ask yourself, am I living in harmony with my definite purpose? Do my actions still serve my highest aim? Such questioning is not doubt. It is purification. The truly organized man does not fear correction, for he knows that correction is progress in disguise. Every insight gained through reflection adds new order to the inner world. He becomes more deliberate, more accurate, more peaceful. Those around him sense his steadiness and call it wisdom, not knowing it is merely self-awareness practiced daily. Reflection also protects faith. When storms come, review your victories. Recall every trial survived, every fear conquered, every plan fulfilled. This remembrance renews courage. Gratitude rekindles faith faster than argument. The man who remembers his strength rarely feels weak. Do not measure growth by comparison to others. The oak does not envy the rose. Each grows according to its law. Your progress must be measured only by your past self. Are you wiser, calmer, more deliberate than yesterday? If so, you are advancing under divine rhythm. There will be seasons when reflection reveals stagnation. Do not despair. Recognition is the beginning of renewal. The moment you see drift, you have already corrected it. Awareness is half of mastery. Teach this law to those who follow you. When you share what you learn, you double your understanding. Teaching is the highest form of reflection, for it requires organization of thought. The greatest minds, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, all became teachers in their own right. They multiplied knowledge by distributing it. Remember this eternal truth. Success not reflected upon will destroy its owner. Wealth without wisdom becomes vanity. Power without understanding becomes tyranny. Reflection purifies ambition, keeping it aligned with service and gratitude. At the close of life, the reflective man carries peace. He does not regret what might have been, because he has examined each day while it could still be improved. His success was not sudden. It was orderly, refined, and complete. Say each night, each day I grow wiser, each night I grow calmer. Reflection refines my power. Speak it until peace fills your chest. You will sleep with mind at rest, heart aligned, and purpose renewed. This is the final proof of all organization, that it produces serenity. For peace is the byproduct of order, and order is the fruit of reflection. The man who reflects daily saves years of wandering. He no longer searches for meaning, he creates it. Thus ends the circle of organization. Purpose gives birth to plan. Plan demands focus. Focus requires discipline. Discipline shapes emotion. Emotion guides service. And reflection renews all. Together, these 7 principles form the rhythm of mastery. When practiced daily, they do more than organize time. They organize destiny. You will save 10, 20, even 30 years of confusion by learning to live in deliberate harmony. And when others ask how you built such peace, you may simply answer, I learned to live by law. Epilogue, the return to order. There comes a quiet hour after all effort has been made, when the mind no longer strives to acquire, but to understand. In that hour, a man sees that every law of success, every step of progress, every plan of order has led him not merely to achievement, but to peace. The purpose of organization is not to trap life into rigid form. It is to free it from waste. It is to give thought a clear channel, emotion a proper place, and time a sacred value. Order is the language of infinite intelligence. To live in harmony with that order is to become a co-creator with life itself. The undisciplined man asks the world for miracles and sees none. The organized man builds his days by law and discovers that every sunrise is a miracle fulfilled. If you have followed these 7 principles, you have already begun to feel a rhythm replacing confusion, a calm certainty where once stood hesitation. You have learned to think on purpose, to act by design, to serve with faith. You have begun the long return from drift to dominion. But knowledge, if not practiced, grows dull. Therefore, you must seal this lesson with a simple daily exercise, a ritual of order that keeps every law alive. Each night before you sleep, clear your desk, dim the lights, and sit in stillness. Let your breathing slow. In your hand, hold a notebook or a single sheet of paper. This will be your daily record, the mirror of your progress. First, write 1 sentence of purpose, the same sentence each night until it becomes instinct. It may be, I know what I want and I move toward it with faith. Let these words command your mind into alignment. Second, list 3 actions from the day that served that purpose. Write them plainly. No judgment, no embellishment. Each is a stone in the foundation of your destiny. Then write 1 action you neglected, and beside it how you will correct it tomorrow. Reflection turns failure into instruction. Third, record 1 emotion you conquered or redirected. Perhaps impatience met discipline or fear bowed to faith. This practice will teach you that mastery is not event, but awareness. Fourth, note one act of service rendered. It may be large or small, seen or unseen. Write it down to remind yourself that giving is not a burden, but a circulation of strength. Gratitude flows naturally from remembrance of service. Finally, end the exercise with stillness. Close your eyes and repeat softly, order is peace, peace is power. Power serves law, and law serves me. Breathe this rhythm 3 times. Feel the day close like a book placed upon a shelf, complete, settled, at rest. This nightly practice will train your mind to close each day in order so that each morning opens in freedom. Within a week, your thoughts will grow clearer. Within a month, your time will bend toward purpose. Within a year, you will not recognize the man who once lived by reaction. When storms arise, and they will, you will return to this ritual. You will sit, breathe, write, review, and remember that every answer is already within. For the organized mind sees pattern even in chaos, meaning even in loss, opportunity even in trial. No success endures without reflection, no peace without law. The man who orders his thought does not beg for luck. He creates rhythm. He does not chase time. Time follows him. He does not plead for wealth. Wealth obeys him. His calm becomes contagious, his certainty a beacon. Each evening that you perform this exercise, you deepen your dominion over self. You prove to the infinite that you are worthy of more power, more prosperity, more peace. For the universe entrusts abundance only to the orderly. So as you close your eyes tonight, do not count your worries, count your laws. They are your companions now. Purpose, planning, attention, discipline, emotional command, service, and reflection. Together they form the chain that binds chaos and the key that opens destiny. Tomorrow you will rise not to react, but to create. You will move with calm assurance, speak with measured confidence, and work with silent joy. You will not wonder what must be done, you will know. For the mind that lives by law lives without confusion. Peace is the final proof of order. When your thoughts march in rhythm with your purpose, when your actions align with your faith, when your heart gives and receives in equal measure, peace settles upon you like sunlight over still water. It is then that you understand the organized life is not confinement, but mastery. And in that mastery lies the wealth of kings, the serenity of saints, and the strength of builders. For the man who governs himself governs all.